Hey friends, welcome back. We are joined with our friends from NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Health Institute, and we are grateful for the time that Babu and Ray have given us. And so welcome back. We're going to dive into a few things about some self-care and then what NAMI offers for some support groups. So Ray, Babu, again, thank you guys. We know that we're in a time where depression has tripled in this past year. Ray, you told us last week that it's went from 1 in 5 to now, 1 in 3?
Potential 1 in 3, yeah.
Yeah. So the numbers are increasing, and we know people in our own lives who are actively hurting. They're battling depression, they're battling anxiety. So what are some of these tips? What are some things that we can do, whether it's us who is battling or a loved one, a friend who is hurting? What are some self-care advice, tips, resources that we can have?
Babu, do you want to step in there?
Yeah, there is. Yes, I will be happy to. There are so many resources that we offer. One thing is that you need help, and then other thing is that you're not alone in this. And so the resources that we offer is to get a self-help to be able to help others, because unless you fix yourself, you won't be able to help the dear one who needs your help or anyone else in the community. So what we do is that we have, first of all, there is a very important group that we have. It's called NAMI Connection Support Group, which is for people who live with a mental health condition. So those are, we have actually 6 support groups, virtual support groups going on in our communities offered by NAMI Colorado. So we will give you those resources, the way, how to join. So those are places, again, I repeat this, the phrase that we use is safe sanctuaries, sacred sanctuaries that we create for those who live with mental health conditions to come and talk about, share their stories. That's all they do. So when somebody shares their story, however hard it is, there will be another one who could say, hey, I've been there. This is what I did. So that's exactly what the Connection Support Group does. So that is for the peers who live with a mental health condition. For families, that's very personal for me. While I have been doing this journey with my daughter for the last 11 years, and when I started, it was like a ton of bricks hitting me. I had no idea what mental health is. So for a period of time, I thought I could be the Superman to take care of my daughter. It took a toll, Ben. At one point of time, I was at a breaking point. I found NAMI's family support group. It's called NAMI Family Support Group. I've been attending that group from 2015. We meet on the first and third Thursdays of every month. We have different places which offer that. We used to meet in a church in Littleton, but now it's virtual. But it was like the times when people come in and we talk, we share our stories. And there are times when people just cannot talk. They just cry. We have enough tissue boxes to go around. And all we do is place a hand on the shoulders saying that we are with you. So that has saved my life. So it is called NAMI Family Support Group. People with families, with loved ones who go through mental health conditions, this is something, again, a sanctuary where you can go in and get help. Another resource I would like to recommend is, we call it NAMI Basics on Demand. In this age, where the COVID age, where a lot of families with young children at their home, mom and dad work from home, and the children are there. They go to the virtual school and in and out. it's a nightmare. It could be a nightmare at times. So NAMI Basics on Demand, I have posted that in the chat. It is a resource that is offered for parents of children, young children, even up to the age of 22, to go through this 6 weeks program. You can take online at your own pace. It tells you what mental health conditions are, how can you get help, how can you deal with the children. Communication is a big part of this process, how you can properly talk to your children and de-escalate certain situations. So those are resources that that we can immediately offer to the community. A mom who works full-time during the day, and after everything is done, of course, mom is not the one who should be completing all the housework. The dad can help him too, or he can do that. But even at 2 o'clock in the morning, they can do this course at their own pace and get that kind of help.
That's phenomenal.
Ray, would you?
Yeah, one of the things that I would always encourage people to do, and what Babu gave so beautifully, is just a slice or 2 slices of the NAMI pie and the resource pie that's out there. Is often when you Thanksgiving dinner and you're sitting around and you're trying to figure out what dessert to take, and even that causes a little bit of anxiety. Do I take a little bit of the pecan pie and a little bit of the chocolate pie, or do I take some pumpkin pie? This is what we want you to do, is know that you have choices out there and that there is no prescription for the exact support group or discussion group. And they're not, right? Sometimes people get a little worried that I don't need to join a support group. Well, NAMI's got discussion groups out there. They have discussion groups that if you join, and you can join for free, and you can choose which discussion groups to subscribe to, is if you're interested in veterans, you can be on the veterans group. If you have just isolation and issues of being in solitude, you can join that discussion group. And because NAMI oversees it, it's not like a angry Facebook page or some of the things you'll run into social media, but instead it's people who are going to constantly say, I experienced that also, or I know exactly how you feel, and this is what I found. And so those resources is go to either namicolorado.org or nami.org and search the resource library. You'll find the discussions group. You'll find what we call the warm line, is there are ways to either pick up the phone or to email with what's going on, and then someone on that other side will help direct you to where you need to be. So I love that Babu gave you just a little sampling of a couple of the wonderful sweeteners that we have out there to make your life a little sweeter and a little easier rather than more difficult.
Yes, absolutely. And again, we have all these links posted below, so you can scroll down below the video and click on these links. One thing that you guys had mentioned in our previous time together was, Ray, you had mentioned this hashtag, okay not to be okay. And tell us a little bit about that. Tell us kind of the thought behind it, and then somebody that's struggling, they'd say, I'm not okay. He says it's okay not to be okay, but I don't want to stay here. What's some tools that somebody could say, hey, listen, I'm not okay, and I'm okay with not being okay, but I don't want to stay here. What should somebody do?
Yeah, it was actually Babu that made mention of that particular hashtag. So I'd love for him to speak to that a little bit, and then we can talk about why hashtags at all. What the heck do they mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the one big thing that prevents a lot of people from getting help, Ben, is the terrible shame and stigma surrounding mental health conditions. So people do not want to talk about it because you know that instantly you'll be judged by that. You'll be labeled as something which is not. So especially that's one of the outreaches that we have in our conversations with the interfaith communities, is that 1 in 3, if 1 in 3 in the COVID time is going through mental health conditions, it is not okay, you know? So, but if you don't have the shame and stigma surrounding that, you will be able to talk it out loud. there is a program that we call it Say It Out Loud, which can can be given in a thumb drive, a flash drive, which anybody can use to do this. So that is something which we need to work on to stamp out the stigma and shame surrounding mental health conditions. So to say that if I'm going through something, I should be free to say, I am not okay, I need help. So it's okay to seek help. It is not a weakness. When you admit that you have a problem, it is a strength. Rather than, like I mentioned, always mention about a family support groups, and there are people who cry. But there is this macho mentality in our nation that men are not supposed to cry. And that is not a weakness. It is, again, sharing your raw emotions in a place where that makes you stronger. So that's exactly what we mean, that it's okay not to be okay. So each one of us need that. None of us are exempt from this trauma of mental health, because it doesn't discriminate. It has no eyes. It sees people the same way, and we could be. So each one of us can help others on those things. Those are some of the hashtags that we have formed, so that we are using it in a fight against stigma and shame.
Yeah, I don't. If you're listening and you are stuck in a spot mentally, whether that's depression, anxiety, PTSD, I want you to know that the stigma is that, you should be ashamed. This is something that you should not be ashamed of. As Ray had mentioned, it's one in 3 people. So normally it's somebody that's in your family or that you work with is struggling. Don't hesitate to reach out to either Eastern Hills, our link is below, or to NAMI, their link is below. They have tons of resources. A lot of those resources are below. You can hashtag several different hashtags. Ray, tell us about some of the hashtags and really kind of how do we use them?
Yeah, and so as examples of hashtag is the hashtag the number sign, hashtag not alone, or hashtag not your fault, hashtag say it out loud, hashtag okay to talk with the number 2. All of those, if you're a social media user, you can plug those hashtags in and you become part of a group that is also using that hashtag. Mm-hmm. If you're not a social media user and you just see that hashtag, others are using that hashtag as well. And so it becomes an empowerment, is especially during COVID times when we're not in groups sitting around a restaurant table, or we're not watching the Super Bowl together or things like that. The hashtags almost rise to the surface and be able to say, you are not alone, or it's okay to talk. And think back to the days when the words breast cancer were something that people didn't say. And now not only do people comfortably talk about breast cancer, but survivors are out there helping one another and moving forward. That's this movement that's happening right now with mental health and well-being, is even in our very name, National Alliance on Mental Illness, we acknowledge that mental illness exists, and we acknowledge that there is something that people can do about it, whether you're that person yourself, and there are peer support network groups and people like you who you can bond with, or you're a family member or a friend, and they're starting to do friends and family programs. And as I mentioned before, veterans programs. And we have a wonderful program called Sharing Hope, where the Black community is coming together to destigmatize mental health in their own. And we have one for the Latino community. And we're not just translating materials into Spanish, but we're actually learning about the cultural competency of when you talk about mental health among a Latino group. What does that mean for them? So Babu said it very well. It does not discriminate. It doesn't choose one age group or one race or one ethnicity. It actually, that's what the hashtag really does, is remind you that no matter who you are, you might fit into that hashtag as well. And so be a part of that group and start sharing that hashtag, and let's destigmatize mental illness to a point where people are talking about it so much that people want to be a part of the solution, not run away from it.
Yeah, that's great. So that leaves me with this kind of this closing question is how does somebody become a part um, of helping somebody, whether that maybe that's stepping in and serving at NAMI. Here at Eastern Hills, we have several ways, several different care groups you can do that. We have links to our care page at the bottom of this, but let's talk about real quick, how do we help one another? How do we serve to really fight this mental illness?
So let me do one more shameless plug here, and that is this hashtag NAMI Walks Colorado 2021. So NAMI Walks CO 2021. And you can just go to namicolorado.org and you'll see a link over to the walks. You can register for a virtual walk that's on May 22nd this year. And that means you could do yoga at home. You can have a mocktail mixology competition. You can jump rope. You can actually go outside, socially distance, and walk with other people. There are so many. We actually have an entire page of all of these virtual things. And the way you can help is create a team, create Eastern Hills, whatever you want to call your team, but put Eastern Hills in front of it so we know it's Eastern Hills team there, and register your team. And every dollar you make for NAMI goes directly to supporting our programs. And it helps us train facilitators and train the trainers and move forward. So all of these classes that are being offered, some of the congregants that are watching this, Ben, they may become trainers. Is by taking a course and learning about it, you then qualify to actually take a course on how to lead or facilitate one of those sessions. And we need more of those. And the beauty about the virtual, you can be helping people on the Western Slope or in Southern Colorado by doing a training session in partnership with them. So look at the NAMI Walks, register. If you happen to own a business and you want to sponsor NAMI Colorado Walks this year, you can do that. There's a lot of ways to take quick action in addition to all the resources that are out there that Babu and I have mentioned.
That's great. Hey, I want to ask you guys one more thing. We have people that watch from other countries, other states. We have people that attend our groups from out of state of Colorado. NAMI is not just a Colorado organization. It is a national association organization. And so if you are not here in Colorado and you say, hey, listen, I want to be part of fighting mental illness in my state, you can find those. You can Google NAMI. You can contact NAMI Colorado and they can help point you in that direction. This is not just something that we are pushing for Colorado. It is, we want to bring help and healing to those all over the world, not just Colorado, not just in our community. And so thank you guys so much, Babu, for joining us, Ray, for giving of your time, your resources. Guys, we are grateful to partner with you guys. Thankful so much for what you do for Eastern Hills, the people around our community. And I just want to say thank you. Leave you guys with the last words if you have any encouragement. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I would just say, close with that there is hope. That's a message. And there is always hope. And we are there to help, but we cannot do it alone. We need you. And we need your volunteers, your community, because the community connections can only move these things. So we are with you. We are looking at a time when mental health becomes not a no casserole illness, but it is as much of a physical illness like cancer or diabetes, where people stay in lines to help if you have a person with cancer with casseroles. But when you say, I have depression, nah, it doesn't happen. So that has to change. We need your help in changing that stigma and shame around mental illness. And we always say, there is hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Babu. And with your blessing, Ben and Babu, I read something from Harvard Divinity School. recently that I'd love to close with. I pray to the birds. I pray to the birds because I believe they will carry the messages of my heart upward. I pray to them because I believe in their existence, the way their songs begin and end each day, the invocations and benedictions of earth. I pray to the birds because they remind me of what I love rather than what I fear. And at the end of my prayers, they teach me how to listen. This was written by Terry Tempest Williams. And simply, I would say to all of you, NAMI is here to listen, and we will continue with you to pray to the birds, among many other things.
That's great.
Amen.
Yes. Friends, thanks for joining us for our community conversation here. We look forward to helping and serve many of you who are hurting or have loved ones who are struggling. So feel free to reach out to us. If you want to reach straight out to NAMI, find the link below. Thank you guys so much. Babu, Ray, thank you. God bless all.
Thank you.
To you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.